Hello there, this is Coach Sammy33, and the season is nearing its end. The bracket is released, bowl games are released. As you've been following on the channel, Florida State will not be involved in a bowl game. I believe that is the third time I've missed out on a bowl game in my NDL career, so hoping we can have a bounce back season with Florida State next year. Next season. We'll have to see if the AD wants to keep me. With the wave of coaches getting fired in real life, standards are high, so we'll have to see. But you can see, uh, obviously, as a member of the Outliers, Missouri State getting that 12th spot, a hellacious matchup against LSU in the bracket. But the bracket, it's a fun one. Texas playing the winner of Notre Dame, NC State, and they will have home field advantage throughout for the obvious reason that EA, for whatever reason, decided to turn that feature off for neutral. Bama will play the winner of LSU and Missouri State. A really interesting matchup if LSU, like I feel like most people assume LSU wins. Smitty's one of the guys that has had Bucknut's number. Will he be able to make it three in a row? Let's see. Ohio State plays the winner of Oregon Duke. Oregon with the slip up to Washington at the end of the season and missed out on the what looked like a collision course with Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. They dropped to the seventh seed. Then Utah playing the ACC winner between Clemson and Louisville of in-season rematch. See if Clemson can get it done again, and uh, El Jefe MC matchup would be pretty cool in the second round. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the rankings for the top 25. So let's take a look and see what we have for the post-conference championship. Well, Texas, no surprise, number one across the board. Ohio State, two. Like there's really no surprise with the top, eight teams per se, because I feel like it was universal for most people. Ohio State undefeated, they win their conference championship. Utah undefeated, win their conference championship. Bama loses. It was a rough loss, but undefeated up until that point. And then LSU, the reigning champ, not in it, but one loss. Oregon, that slip up late takes them out. It would have been really cool to see a Oregon Ohio State matchup with those offenses, but we don't get that. El Jefe, your reigning champion for the ACC, does it again. You got Notre Dame, number eight. So then we start to get a little bit of a mix after the nine spot. So Duke's nine on both, and then Iowa State 10 on the coaches poll, 12 on the media. Louisville, 11 coaches, 10 media. NC State, 12 and 11 respectively. USC and Missouri State flip flop at 13, 14. We got Texas Tech and Michigan State coming in at 15 and 16. Flip flop of Washington State and Tennessee at the 17, 18 spot. The Catman at number 19. Pat and Mort swapping at 20 and 21. And then you got UConn at 22 across the board. Boise State, they win their conference. They sit at 25 in the coaches, 23 in the media. Washington, 23 in the coaches, and 25 in the media. And the interesting ones to me, Akron and Memphis. So Akron is 24th, but they don't win their conference, and they're ranked higher than Memphis. I know they're 11 and one, so no, not only playing. No, you don't win your conference championship, but you still have 11 wins. Memphis does. They're 24 in the media poll, so a little bit of a difference there. And then for teams just missing out, obviously I just mentioned Memphis. The coaches poll, you see there's a quite sizable gap. It's 234 all the way down to 103, so a huge gap. So we can say that the 25 for the coaches poll were pretty standard. On the media side, Akron comes in at 26 with 31, so 6 points off. Central Michigan, a sizable gap there with 16. So again, the top 25 teams were pretty obvious. It was just the order. With that said, we'll take a look at the coach breakdown. On the coach's side, Tar UNC Hill, the closest to getting a perfect poll. Priest right behind, NC State right behind too. So Nice little mix of teams in 21 to 24. I'm sitting here at 15, 30 points off. Would have been cooler if I was down here at 33, but I digress. Then going the other way, you got the farthest, couple over 100. So a lot of variety here. But I feel like for the most part, the teams were there. It's just the order of the teams. Of course, you have some teams that got ranked uh, in different polls that weren't on the poll. I can see here, just catching my eye. You've got Miami, you've got App State, Memphis, mentioned them. And then going down, you're going to see some other teams as well. That's Coastal Carolina. I don't want to be a liar, pretty sure though. Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. You're going to get a lot of different teams. Central Michigan getting some votes in there too. Tulsa, South Florida. So you're going to see a lot of things there. Ohio too. On the media side, pretty close. 34, almost got to 33. Not too shabby here. I mean, we all agree Texas is number one. Hard not to. They went undefeated and the doors off of Bama in the SEC championship. Some debate with Ohio State and Utah, who's 2, who's 3, and some still have Bama at the 2 spot, even though they had a really ugly loss. But you look at my poll, I don't think there's anything super crazy. I moved Bama a bit farther down. I know it's the conference championship game, it's extra, but losing by 30 points. Yes, it's jiggy. Yes, it's Texas, but that's still a really tough loss. Oregon didn't play, so they're neutral. Clemson won. LSU was neutral, and they were already like right behind them anyway. So even though I know they both have one loss, I could see the argument for keeping Bama ahead of LSU, but in terms of the poll, LSU was idle, so they moved back. If it had been a close loss, probably wouldn't have moved back that far. Nothing super crazy. My first G5 team is at the 16 spot, and have more in this poll than I've had, I believe, all season. Missouri State 16. They win their conference. Boise 21. They win their conference. Washington State and UConn. And then I have Akron at the 25 spot. So I did not have them over Memphis. I was just talking about that in the coach squad. I did find that very interesting though. And then some of the teams you expect to be there. Maryland at 20, Tennessee 19, got Florida at Texas Tech and Michigan State, USC, Louisville. It's pretty much the same teams. I feel like for the most part, just the order was different. So that's the top 25. The last one we see will be at the end of the season, so you won't see another update from me for a bit because it'll be that final poll, which we have bowl games open, so that'll be a while. Probably won't be back from TwitchCon, and, before the bowl or before the bowl games are done. Still be in the playoff, and on top of that, I need to see if I'm getting fired or not from Florida State. So we'll see that probably in a couple of weeks. Definitely will be waiting patiently to see what the results are from the